Um, and thank you, Mahdi, and thank you everyone online for coming to my presentation. Hi there, have a seat. My name is Anwar Ahmed, and I teach at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver. So today I'd like to talk about argumentative writing and linguistic citizenship. See if we can move to the next slide. Oops. Okay. So as you see on the right side of the slide, there's a picture that I took from my hotel room last night. And I thought that's interesting to see how people think about citizenship in many different ways. So what citizenship really means, it means many things to many people, actually. So recycling in the hotel room, like in their view, recycling is also an act of citizenship. Those of you who are here, you can see the word citizenship in that picture is covered by the Zoom link, the Zoom people. Anyway, citizenship is like really recycling is act of citizenship. But there are many different meanings about citizenship, of the word citizenship. I categorize all those meanings into two broad types, like the legal or political aspect, and then the civic aspect. So legal citizenship is like either you have a citizenship or you don't. Like it's a piece of paper, citizenship of a particular country. But the civic aspect of citizenship is like how we build communities, how we relate to each other, how we really enact our citizenship, how we support each other and build a community. So that's the civic aspect of citizenship. Now, what does writing have to do with citizenship? I mean, for a long time, really, since the time of at least in the Western tradition, like since the time of probably Plato and Aristotle, one of the important goals of rhetoric is to prepare students for citizenship, right? And there is a good body of literature in rhetoric and composition that talks about the importance of preparing students as active citizens. So when you talk about second language writing and citizenship, you can identify a number of challenges actually. So, for the sake of manageability, here I identified 4 challenges to writing for citizenship purposes. Cultural, when you have L2 students from different cultural backgrounds, their understanding of active citizenship will be different. Linguistic. As you all know, linguistic proficiencies will be a big factor in how students will write arguments, for example. The linguistic ability, it will determine their level of engagement to the writing, the mode of writing, right? So, and then the curricular challenge, because even though in the Western tradition, there is an emphasis on argumentative writing. And sometimes actually argumentative essay is looked at as the foundation of writing curriculum. And even sometimes it's like it's the ethical justification of writing curriculum, actually, argumentative writing. It's all about making a strong argument. So there is the curriculum of writing pedagogy actually makes it harder sometimes for the citizenship goal, because the question is whether or not this focus on argumentative writing is actually good for citizenship. And more recently, the technological challenge, as you all know, the artificial intelligence, for example, how it is challenging the traditional pedagogies of writing. And so we gain a lot of things from AI, but we might also lose something, right? So it's still evolving, but I suspect there will be some AI challenges to writing for citizenship purposes. Now, the study that I just finished is a project that I entitled Arguing for Democratic Citizenship, an exploration of multilingual students' argumentative writing in English as an additional language. I used a critical sociocultural theory of writing as my theoretical perspective, and I collected data from 12 students currently enrolled in different post-secondary institutions in Canada. Two sources of data: the students' sample argumentative essays that they wrote as part of their coursework, and then individual semi-structured interviews with those same participants. And then as a research strategy, I use textography, which basically combines the traditional discourse analysis and ethnographic techniques, for example, interview. So basically, textography will give you a lens to look at the text as well as the context. Okay. Now, the way I wanted to present to you is, I call it a data story of one focal participant. A female student from Iran, currently a third-year undergrad student in Ontario University. And so we analyzed her argumentative essay that she wrote as part of her course, and then also the interview data. So long story short here, the way she presented her argument was really interesting in the sense that what led me to believe that argumentative writing may undermine, actually, rather than encourage, the dialogic and interpretive approaches to the complex socio-political issues that we need for active citizenship. Mainly because the way, again, the mainstream approach to writing argumentative essay is like you take a position and then you kind of cherry pick, you gather data or evidence to support your position that you already made, right? So it's not that the students will be encouraged to rethink their position and actually change their position. So here I found an example in this participant that I like to call Zainab as a pseudonym. So in Zainab's writing, the context was Mahsa Amini's death in Iran and the debate about the hijab, if you remember that debate. So this participant, Zainab, was saying that, as you see in the quote, I was very ready to write an angry article. And by the way, she does not wear hijab. She identifies as a Muslim, but she does not wear hijab. And then she was so angry, and then she said that she was ready to write an angry paper, okay, based on science. And she also said she hated those who were supporting hijab, and she loved those who were against it. However, by the end of the term, she actually ended up writing a completely different paper supporting women's right to wear hijab. And she also said this: it doesn't matter how much I hate Iran's government and how much I hate hijab as a tool to control women. So it was really interesting to see how the trajectory of her thinking throughout that paper. So she did not follow the traditional way of argumentative writing that we used to teaching our students, like 5 paragraph, and then you present your argument and counter argument, but you actually stick to your original point. You don't really change your position. Like that's how the argumentative writing is usually taught. So it was really interesting to see also that her emotional reaction, her ambivalent position about this debate about hijab, even though she doesn't want to wear it, but she supported in through her writing women's right to wear it. Okay? So, and then even some of the words you see in the quotation, like love and hate, like repeated, right? So it's really emotional for her. Now, and then from this data study, in this paper, what I focus on is the notion of writing as relationship. Now, again, historically, this has been a goal of rhetoric and composition, that we teach students to become an active citizen and build relationship through the written text, right? So how, as writers, how we imagine our readers, and then try to have a dialogue through our writing. And then as readers, when we read books or papers, we also have a dialogue with that author, even though we may not know them, right? So that has been a key goal of writing pedagogy, to have this relationship building. But as you know, the artificial intelligence, like it might pose a challenge. I don't know yet because AI was not the focus of my this study in particular. But as we can assume as writers ourselves, that AI might pose a serious threat to that relationship building aspect, because students may lose writing as an important literacy practice when the machines can do it, right? So that human labor versus the machine labor, right? So there will be some qualitative differences in the coming years, I suspect. So we might lose some of that relationship building aspect of writing pedagogy. And then the challenge for me is, how do we strike a balance between preparing our students for citizenship, making them confident in their stance against, let's say, various forms of inequality, violence in society, and at the same time being comfortable with the uncomfortable truths, the difficult knowledge, and how to live with differences. So that's a really big challenge for me as a writing instructor, and as a researcher as well. So I know we're running out of time. I want to have some time for Q&A. So really quickly, as a result of this study and my longtime experience of being a writing instructor as well, I developed like a tentative model of a critical affective approach to second language writing. And the four principles of this model are these. Unfortunately, I won't be able to elaborate on these, but basically, we need to encourage the students to reflect on their own experiences of writing. Okay, so writing as a personal experience. We have to give the students some space to reflect on that and develop their critical affective literacies. Okay, so emotional literacies, because writing is an emotional act. Okay, paying attention to the productive aspects of negative emotions as well. So we don't need to avoid negative emotions when it comes to writing. And finally, developing the instructor's sensitivity toward the emotional labor of writers, like student writers in particular. If you're curious to know more about these four principles, I tried to elaborate those principles in this article that I published recently in the Journal of Second Language Writing. And I should stop here because we don't have much time. So if you have further questions or you want to keep in touch, here is my email address.